Progress.
Perfect. All right, everyone. Hi. Thank you so much for coming in person or in Zoom. So thank you and welcome to the September 30th meeting of the Needham Council for Arts and Culture. As a reminder, this meeting is being broadcast to the town's YouTube channel and also via Zoom. And are we being recorded on the Needham channel, Miles?
Not tonight.
Not tonight. Okay. And is being recorded for publication, later viewing, and administrative purposes. All right. So with that note, we're going to take roll. I am here. Vita is not. Steve here. Manya is not. Jean, yep, very much here. Sean here. Tracy's not. Christine is here. Rana is here. Joni is here. Wendy is not. Sheila is here. Heather is here. Shona is not. And Wenley is here. Okay, perfect. And just to introduce the person, the wayward person who's sitting in the back, that is Charlie Nanda. She is one of the architects of the Needham Arts and Culture Plan. I did promise we were going to have an expert with us this evening. She is going to do a small presentation for us a little bit later. Okay. Treasurer's update. I'm going to very briefly, did everyone get the treasurer's update that I sent out by email? Okay, perfect. Just so we have it on record for the public, I'm going to go over it briefly because Kavita is not here. I will do it for fiscal year 2024 to 2025. We have $9,680 in encumbered funds. This is funding that is still earmarked to reimburse grantees from fiscal year 2025. For fiscal year 2025 to 2026, we have a reserve fund of $3,310.53. This is a reserve fund that we can use for other projects, should we choose. The town of Needham has given us an allocation of $18,300 that will expire on June 30th, 2026. The MCC, that's the Mass Cultural Council, those are the state funds, amounts to $9,400. Those will expire on December 31st, 2026. And the funds available for granting this year amount to $26,675. Now, if you recall in the last meeting, we reserved $7,500 for the Highland Avenue mural project. So if we deduct that from our $26,675 that would be available for granting this year, then that actually gives us $19,175 available to grant. Does anyone have any questions before I move on to the next item on our agenda? No? Quiet group. Okay, fabulous. Harvest.
To accept it.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
I move we accept the treasurer's report.
Okay, in a second. Okay, all in favor? Okay, they've been accepted. Next would be the past minutes. Did everyone have a chance to read over the minutes? Okay. Can I ask someone to make a motion to accept those minutes? Did anyone have any corrections, first of all? No? Okay. Can I have someone, Jean, make a motion? Anyone second?
Second.
Christine second. All in favor? Okay, perfect. Then we are accepting the past minutes from August 19th. Next item on our agenda, the Harvest Festival. That is happening from October 5th from 11 to 3. You might have noticed that when I sent the sign up, it was from 10 to 3. That's because we need to set up. I still need volunteers. I did send the sign up a couple of times. Thank you for those of you who did sign up. I really appreciate it. The 12:30 to 2 slot is full. But I still need one volunteer from 10 to 11. Is there someone who would volunteer?
I can be there.
All right, Heather, fabulous. Appreciate that. From 11 to 12:30, I need one more volunteer.
I won't be here, sorry. I'm not in town.
Nobody?
I think I signed up for that time slot.
You and I are the only ones.
Oh, okay.
Okay. If necessary, you and I can do it by ourselves, but from 2 to 3:30, I don't have any volunteers at all.
Why don't I do that one instead? And I can be a floater if you need me for anything. If you prefer that.
So Heather and Abby.
Whatever you need.
I was planning to be there all day. So I would love to get some other members of the council engaged and involved. This is a great opportunity to reach out to our community and talk to people, get some community involvement and input. Is anybody available?
If I am, I will let you know, but I'm having surgery at 6 o'clock the next morning, so. I
Right.
don't know what's. Trying to get the house in order and get some food, more food in the freezer and stuff like that.
No,
It's actually pretty fun. I mean, I've done it every
It
year.
is.
it is really fun.
And you do it, like, you're there and then when you're not working, you can.
You walk
wander
around and you
see.
collect bags to, a sweet bag. Yeah, a sweet bag, they're great.
What time did I sign up for it? Do you have it written down? I don't even remember. So I thought I was on the late shift. Oh, it's sorry.
I don't have your specific slot written down. I could email you after if you want.
Well, I
let
think you and
know.
I are 12 to 12:30.
I think you're 12:30 to 2.
It's late, yeah, to stay.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. All right, then Heather, don't worry about coming later. So I have for 10 to 11, Heather, you're gonna come in the morning. Wenley, you and I will do the 11 to 12:30. I mean, I'll be there all day, 12:30 to 2. It's full. And then Sean, you and I will do the 2 to 3:30. We'll be good friends.
5:30 to 3:30.
Go 12:30 to
I
3:30.
mean, I think I'm down for 11.
You are. Yep.
Also, it's never rained on the Harvest Festival.
Oh,
I
boy.
couldn't say that.
Oh, boy.
Oh, don't jinx us. Okay.
What? I think it's supposed to be beautiful.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, Sunday's supposed to be nice.
All right, we're gonna move on to the activity that we're doing at the Harvest Festival. Mia Cross made us bird coloring pages, they're really beautiful. We did introduce them during the launch party that we did in May. Heather, you said you would print them. Is that still something you'd be able to do?
If you wanna, I'm not great at gauging how many we need, even though I've been there, but
That would be, you know what, that's a good question for Miles.
Yeah.
Miles, you are a logistic person. How many coloring pages do you imagine we would need to cover a harvest festival?
Goodness.
how many kids come around? Do you have any idea the numbers,
About
like
30
roughly?
kids last year doing the knitting.
Really? My goodness.
Well, wouldn't a coloring page be a lot more like grab and go? Like knitting, you're gonna be sitting.
That's
and
right,
fine motor
so
skills.
it could be
So
something that
more.
they grab, and so I would, just 100, I would think.
I was thinking something like but something like the drawing, sometimes the parents wanna chill, so they just. Like the knitting, I think, was a little more technical.
Yeah,
but
it was.
I bet we'll get more kids.
Well, I
don't
was
know,
just using
you
that
never
to
know,
gauge,
but
but I-
even if we have too many,
I think 100 is plenty.
I would err on the side of caution and print at least 100, 125. So,
Always use it for another event.
exactly,
Yeah,
you can always
should we
recycle
do
them
more?
for something going forward.
it's not very,
If it's not very expensive to
It's
print it,
not.
maybe do 150.
Are you
That sounds
printing it
good.
on just copy paper or on heavier paper?
I mean, Doesn't matter.
I think regular paper is just fine for an event like this, cause
Okay.
it's not going to, it's not something that parents are gonna do anything besides,
Right.
yeah, exactly. I'm gonna bring coloring supplies and table covers. I'm also gonna bring a QR code for more info on the NCAC, its projects and its impacts. Heather, can I also get from you the banner? That would be terrific.
What would, sorry, I missed what you said the QR code and something else.
The coloring supplies and the table covers.
I think I have coloring supplies still from the last event. That
Okay,
you probably bought. They had like a bunch of crayons.
That's right, yeah.
So I can bring.
I think I bought them again, to be honest with you.
You just need that enough.
Can't get enough coloring
You
supplies.
know what, we can give out a few crayons.
We can, honestly, there are a few of them are gonna walk away, so that's fine. Okay, perfect. Is there anything else, Sean, did you said you had an idea
I
or
have a
you?
sticker book. Like one page is a blank caricature. And then the next page is the stickers you can make on it.
Do you wanna bring it?
I'll bring it.
Okay, perfect. All right, that's great. And I think that's plenty because most of the time we're really gonna wanna be talking to people, so. All right, perfect. I think we're all set then. All right, excellent. Next item on the agenda, mural on Highland Avenue site. Joni and I will be meeting with the select board on October 29th, but before that, I'd like Joni, if you could, to provide us with an update on what's happening with the mural project.
Grossman is our partner in this. They are a corporate sponsor and they are 50-50 splitting the cost of this up to $7,000. So
The 7,000.
up to 7 for them, 7 for us.
Okay, that's,
And we are, we're using our money for the subsidies, for the 3, not
I
subsidies.
actually have a question.
Yeah.
We had approved up to 7,500. Did that
Oh,
number get
I'm
knocked
sorry,
down
then
to?
up to 7,500.
Okay.
They're doing 75, we're doing 75.
okay, thank you.
And it's gonna be, if you know where it is, it's right by, across from the new restaurant. White, it's very bright white right now. There's piping that goes down about 10 feet from the walkway. That kind of divides it, and we have an idea for that little space there. Maybe it's less than 10 feet, maybe it's 8 feet. And, but right now, this is where we are. We're working on the schedule. The RFP is up on the website. It's on the, what did you put it on? Google Docs. It's
Yeah,
on Google
we just
Docs,
put it on
subject to
Google.
change. The language in this is exactly the language that was approved by Needham Town Council for the previous 2 murals, so nothing has been changed except that we incorporated language about what the Grossman community would like to see. They want to celebrate the unique character and heritage of Needham, culture, industry, geography, etc. Reinforce a sense of town community and pride, be welcoming, appealing, and appropriate for a diverse audience, provide a lasting aesthetic value that complements the neighborhood and character of the surrounding area. They want absolutely nothing political, which is obviously we don't either. And we're on the exact same page that they're on with this. They're wonderful to work with. As soon as this goes through the select board, I'll be contacting the Needham papers and Observer, etc., for an article on the partnership of Needham Business and the Needham Council for Arts and Culture, so that perhaps we can encourage other businesses to do the same kind of thing, but maybe for something different than another mural.
Very nice.
But I think that kind of publicity is really important. So the only thing that I can say is the wall is beautifully prepared already. We don't have to do anything for that. We talked about the possibility of, on the side, having an art box that would be populated by art by Needham students. And that would change maybe 4 times a year. according to whatever the art teachers in the different schools wanted to present. And it wouldn't be a huge thing, but it would be, it's kind of difficult to make a mural jump that piping and continue, although, you know, painting over all the piping, it could. But if it doesn't, then that would be a really nice idea for that space. And the piping would break it so it wouldn't fight with each other. It would just be a nice additional kind of art that people could look at. And because the way the stairs are, there's really no way to vandalize it or to do anything to it. And there are, as we know, outdoor art boxes, and it would, Grossman is very excited about that aspect of it because they really want to showcase the art that the kids are doing in the schools to bring that into the community.
Grossman is,
Grossman Incorporated, Grossman Industries, whatever they call it, I forget the exact name. But it's
Grossman Companies.
Grossman Companies, right? They own the strip mall and they own where the liquor store and the restaurant, what's the name of that restaurant?
Conrad's.
Conrad's, and they own that whole thing, plus other properties. It used to be Grossman Lumber. If you're familiar with Grossman Lumber, this is the next generation. And now they are in all they're property owners and they're doing this upgrade and they came to us, can we do a mural?
This conversation with Grossman's, who's having that? Is that something that there are a couple people from here?
So this is my next point.
Yeah.
It started in the summer when nobody's around, so Heather and I, you
Yeah.
know, we did it.
I think it's more you.
Okay, I'll take the blame.
Well, I was
I mean,
part of that conversation.
She was, yeah,
Yeah.
she was, and at
Yeah.
the meetings that we had with them.
Yeah, I did.
Now, the next step is to get a subcommittee from this group. Because 2 reasons. There's a lot of steps that go into this and people who are interested in that type of public art need to learn what those steps are. Because I'm off the council next year and this Heather is going to be part of the whole thing. I'm not Heather.
what's her name? Abby?
Abby's gonna have, Abby's gonna be a part, but she can't do this and we're gonna be in the grant cycle. So it's gonna be my job to teach whoever works on the subcommittee what has to be done, so if there's another mural, you'll have all my notes, you'll know what to do. And you will be able to go forward. So it's a dual edge kind of committee. It's to really be part of it. And to be involved in what comes in and all the kinds of things, but it's also to learn how to do this. The amount of red tape could be daunting, but now it's more kind of routine at this point, because we've done it, this is the 3rd time.
So the goal tonight is to establish a mural
Yes.
subcommittee, which is really so that we can establish also the language that is going to be used on the RFP is the request for proposals, just for those of you who are new. We need to nail down that language before we submit it to town council and before it goes before the
much.
select board. We need to make sure that everybody is happy with it. So what I am looking for this evening is Rana, great.
Anybody else?
Actually,
I have a question though. So does the subcommittee, when it comes to deciding which, when we get submissions, let's pretend we get a bunch of submissions. And there's a process for selection,
Mhm.
how does that go? What happens?
So what happens is we receive proposals from basically portfolios from a multitude of artists.
We hope.
And then we hope, but I'm sure we will, this is a pretty hefty chunk of change that we're talking about. Then we submit that to the mural subcommittee. The mural subcommittee looks through those proposals and then we all discuss, we basically rank choice voting, what we prefer in terms of the proposals and portfolios, excuse me. And talk about the merits of each individual portfolio. Then we decide on our top 3 selections. Those 3 finalists, we come back to with an honorarium of $300 each. Those people then go and make a final design.
That's the way.
And they submit that to us, and then with the subcommittee meets, and we also bring in some members of the community. We bring in some business owners. Last time we brought in a student, which I thought was
We bring in the
really,
Grossmans and a student.
yeah.
That's,
Oh, they're gonna be part of this election.
yeah, they're gonna be part of the subcommittee. But we also will send out, like we did last time, a survey to the town once we have the 3 finalists. And see how the town
Do we
responds.
have to do that?
We do not have to do that.
It is-
It's something
It is,
that we
it is
have
a
done.
good
Right.
idea to do that, because in terms of good relations with the
Yeah, it
town,
makes them
it's a
feel-
really, it's not a great idea to
It's
not
just-
ask people what their thoughts are.
But I guess I didn't get a strong sense that, I thought that the data that we got from the last time was really ambiguous, and we weren't really sure, and didn't we override, like, what did we do? with
We
it
didn't,
last
we
time?
ended up aligning with the town, but you're right in that we did not get a lot of respondents. I think we only received like 90 or 100 people who responded to, which is about comparable to what we receive in our annual survey. We
Right.
don't typically receive, an
a
overwhelming
lot,
number
yeah.
of responses to our annual survey. So you're not wrong.
The
Jane,
first
you're not
time we
wrong.
got quite a few more than that,
Uh-huh.
and it was an overwhelming choice. There wasn't even.
Sheila had a question. Go ahead, Sheila.
What is the time frame and how much time commitment are we talking about to be on the subcommittee?
It's a number, I'm sorry, Joni, 1 second. It's a number of, I would say it's probably one meeting to discuss the RFP, another meeting to discuss the proposals that come in, one more meeting to discuss the final 3 candidates, and then the entire council as a whole will discuss.
So 3 meetings.
Yeah, we'll discuss the final,
Okay,
The
and
final-
what-
the
over
final
what
3
time
and-
period?
how much time?
What time period? Okay, if we start now and go through November, we start now and go through October. I mean, I just want to
The
get. an
time
idea.
frame is that we will be meeting with the select board on the 29th
Of
of
October.
October.
Okay,
The goal is to meet with the select board finally in the end of December with a
And
final
then I thought we were
selection.
talking about they wanted
Correct.
something up by Thanksgiving. Is that
it's
still?
not
No,
happening.
Okay.
no, I've been in contact with them and sent them a long email about what has to happen and why it cannot happen before that. That was their initial desire, but it just, the size of the mural and the scope of it is so much bigger than what we had that we have to.
Can these meetings be attended virtually?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Every
I'm
meeting can
hoping-
be
I'm hoping
attended
that we will
virtually.
have.
Sheila, we'd love to have you if you are
Yes,
interested.
absolutely.
I would, because I am going to be out of commitment for a couple of months, like December and January, but I can do it.
December and January are probably not on the table for this.
Yeah.
So why don't I put your name down?
Well, the
Okay.
final, the
Twist it-
final
twist it my
design,
arm.
Yeah,
the
why
final
not?
design
Definitely.
is, we have it right now tentatively to be done by December. The end of December, because January and February, everyone's away and we wanna start early spring and have all our ducks in a row, which
So-
means more meetings, more the select board, the design and review board, everybody has to look this over, and that takes a couple of months.
Okay.
So,
Always takes longer than expected.
That's exactly right.
so I'm sorry,
Sorry.
sorry, I'm looking at the time and I know Charlie is here for a particular purpose. And so I wanna make sure we accomplish this task so we can move on to Charlie's presentation.
Yeah.
So,
And
I have-
I'll-
Heather
I
will
don't
also
know.
join the committee. Okay,
Raise my hand.
fantastic. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is there anyone else who'd like to join before I
Okay,
wrap
give
this
me-
up?
It's Heather, it's Sheila, it's.
Rana, Steve, Sheila,
Steve.
Joni, and Heather, and
Okay.
obviously I will be there too. So I'm always there. All right,
Heather, Steve, Sheila, Jean, what, who Jean is?
Rana, Steve, Sheila, Joni, and Heather. All right, I think that is a wonderful subcommittee. You're all
I just
wonderful.
wanna say one other thing. The language, I don't know what language we need to go over, except maybe what the,
Joni, I'm sorry to
Sorry.
cut you off, but I think let's talk about that in the subcommittee because
Okay.
we do need to move on. All right, one very quick thing, is that, the owner of the building that houses the Chapel Street mural, the tight knit mural,
Yeah.
noted some damage on the corner of the wraparound and he asked us to fix it. And it's come to our attention that the NCAC has no money set aside for mural repairs. It might be a good idea for us to consider doing so, to address situations such as this one that pop up, which probably will happen over time. So I'd like to propose that we set aside a sum for repairs. I'm wondering if you're in agreement, and if so, how much we should.
Very much in
Didn't
agreement,
we
because
have
I was
that
gonna bring
last
up with
year?
Charlie, not to get off subject, but it's mural, I drove by the
did.
mural and
Pansies.
it's starting to peel, the pansies, that we needed to do a little touch up. If you,
Yeah, you might
So,
wanna put that
yes.
in the notes, I'm the touch-up
we
person
did
for
have
that
money
mural.
set aside for
Yeah.
mural repair.
I thought, I don't remember, but it sounds like we talked about it. I
Yeah.
can't remember if we voted.
We
on it.
did.
We did
did
talk
last
about it. I
year.
looked back at our notes, we never put aside money for it, so.
How much do you think we should do?
Charlie, what do you think is reasonable, actually, since you're the one doing touch-ups? Glad you're
What do you
here.
want, Charlie? No, kidding.
I'm glad you're here, since you're doing this.
Personally, I would put 10% of the cost of the item as a maintenance fund.
Okay, so if this is it's a $9,000 mural, so that would be $900. So do we want to put aside $1,000 for mural repairs?
Yeah.
I called the guy who does stuff like this. And I asked him to stop by and look at it, see if it's something that he would like to do to donate to the town. And he said he would stop by, but he can't stop by until October 1st.
Okay,
In that area.
Smart.
So,
thank you for doing that.
if he will repair it, then.
And
he
this
had-
mural is
we can get,
14 grand.
He had to paint it.
Yeah, I
That would
would
be
say,
great.
Okay, but I'm
Yeah,
hoping
you
it's,
still need to pay her
it's
though.
only a little, it's
Is
only
this
about this
yeah,
big.
I would,
And what happened was he hit it with a shovel. He was shoveling up some debris or something and he hit it. and it-
You're going.
So- So we're
Who are
gonna,
you asking?
we're voting on $1,000 to, yeah.
Only because I
I
want.
think we have something else to hear, because that's only 10% of one.
Oh, go ahead, Charlie, yes.
well, I was, yeah, usually you would do 5 to 10% of each project as a maintenance fund. But it depends on what the piece is, how big it is and how, I mean, it's not a general number. Because, you know, the bronze sculpture in the middle of the town that lost its legs, that repair is gonna cost in the thousands.
That's true, that's a lot.
So it depends on the.
Go ahead, Miles, I'm sorry.
So I would make a recommendation, perhaps table a motion on setting aside funds, especially for something that covers the cost of a project over multiple fiscal years. To ensure that the funding vehicle is appropriate. Funding vehicle might be the wrong term anyways.
Funding source.
But where the money stays so that, if I'm understanding Charlie's point correctly, this money would be set aside at basically the genesis of the mural
Yeah,
and sort of
right.
live in a fund that could then be appropriated from over the course of time.
Yeah, we
Which,
had originally earmarked that slush fund for maintenance and hadn't touched it for years, but that was an old fund that had kind of
We
been there.
did,
so,
yeah.
Yeah,
so I guess a recommendation would be perhaps add this to the agenda for the next meeting. In the meantime, we can work together, identify what the appropriate mechanism might be to
Okay.
do that,
So we're
understanding that intent.
going to postpone that decision on set aside money.
And I'll take that as an action to follow up with our finance team and find out what the appropriate mechanism might be.
Okay, perfect. All right, I
Miles,
appreciate,
there's
I
no,
appreciate both of your
there's no
input on that.
problem with
Okay,
having I forget what they're called, who does stairs and plaster and all that stuff, the
Mason?
mason, thank you.
Very good.
Do it as a gift to the town, is that an issue?
I don't know off the top of my head, and I'd be uncomfortable answering that.
Can you get
without-
back to me and let me know before I
Absolutely.
commit him to do this?
Absolutely, and I'll communicate
It's
through
it's a
Abby.
licensed, insured construction.
I just don't know off the top of my head, and I
But,
before I'm on the record saying anything.
yeah, and to your point, you can't have a mason touch up an artist's artwork, just.
No, what happened is they knocked off
Yeah.
enough of the cement that the cement has to be built up before you can paint over it.
Oh, I see.
So he would just repair the cement and then
Oh,
we
I
have to
see.
have it painted,
Yeah,
okay?
you do need permission from the artist to touch up the artwork, though.
Yeah, we won't touch the artwork. That I know, I remember that.
Okay. All right, we'll follow up on that. We'll do that privately outside of the meeting time. I do have something else on the agenda, but, that said, I'm gonna swap the order of things because I really want Charlie to get to what she's here for, which is the Arts and Culture Action Plan. So, without further ado, I have a ton of notes, but I'm gonna let Charlie take it
Well,
away.
so I love that you said I have a big presentation. I don't have any singing or dancing or even like PowerPoint for you. I just thought it would be more of a Q&A. And I'm sure that Abby gave you all the package. And I'll just start by introducing myself for those of you who don't know me. I'm Charlie. I'm an arts and culture administrator. I'm an arts administrator and advocate. And so I work, my focus is connecting artists and audiences to the broader community. Oh, and she brought the.
You can all find what Charlie is referring to on the second page of
Yeah.
your handout.
So what I just wanted to give you a little background of the Arts and Culture Action Plan, because this was a baby of ours for a while. And what's interesting about a council is that some of the history, it's not like an organization, some of the history is lost along the way. So I joined in 2017. I was the secretary and then the chair for 3 years, for those of you who don't know me. And then I rolled off. When I moved to Needham, I decided that I thought Needham really needed some color. So that's why I found the Cultural Council, and my background is in public art administration on a municipal level. And I also work in art service organizations, and I've worked with Wenley at an orchestra once as well. But so the history of this, when I joined the council, it was maybe 8 people. So I'm so happy to see all the faces around the table. We got it up to maybe 15 people over our tenure. Mild earmuffs. We used to have drinks in the restaurant afterward, and I think that got people really happy until we realized that that was probably not a great thing to do. But we did have fun times.
Heather,
Yeah.
we missed all the fun.
Yeah.
I know, we joined during.
But the council, the cultural council at that time, it was a smaller group. It ebbed and flowed a lot. And it didn't have much of a visibility in town. People didn't know its name. One of the first things we did was a branding and awareness campaign to bring visibility to it, and we changed the name. So you might know every other town, 351 in Massachusetts, has a cultural council. Some of them are regional. But because Needham has a Needham Community Council, in the newspaper, we often got grant announcements about the Needham Community Council having a open grant period. So that's when we decided the Needham Cultural Council sounded too similar. So we changed it to Needham Council for Arts and Culture, which to this day, I think I'm the only one who can say it without stumbling it over it. So the Needham Council for Arts and Culture, we had made a Facebook page. We did a logo with some branding and awareness. We talked to the select board and told them what we were doing. And that was something that I think hadn't happened in a while. So definitely advocating with the select board. And I'm so happy to hear you're meeting with them on the October 29th. So that's when we put a municipal funding request in, and we actually got a line item to match. So the state had always given us some budgeting for grants. It was like 9,000 for many years. And then this was the first time that the town invested a match. So that was really awesome. And all we had to do was ask. So that was sort of the genesis. And then our economic development director at the time, Amy Hilson, wrote a grant to the Massachusetts MAPC. It's called the Regional Planning Council, the MAPC. So the Massachusetts Regional Planning Council for infrastructure for everything, but they have an arts and cultural component. So they gave us a technical grant. It was like $40,000 to write this cultural plan, which at the time was great because we had just started getting some visibility. Our grant applicants were growing, even though we'd been around since 1998 funding things. but so it was a really good time to sort of reevaluate. We had done maybe 6 public art projects in town. You've seen them, the Jersey barriers, the electrical art boxes, and the Pansy mural, which did take 2 years to administrate, by the way, so. And that also was some ARPA funding, so that was a sign that the town was paying attention. So we thought it was right for this Arts and Culture Action Plan that started in 2023. It was a long series of just gathering input. There was a lot of interviews with artists from Forest Mills. They interviewed some students at the Parks and Rec Theater Summer Camp, what they thought. There was a town survey. I think maybe they got 200 to 300 people for the survey, which isn't huge, but they weren't talking about parking. So it was really huge response. But going into the community, we had some events, and then we had a giant public forum at the end. The plan, I think, is pretty accurate, but what you all probably already know is the plan is very time sensitive. So it was delivered in October of 2024. It's listed on your website as delivered. It's not, some other plans, I think, and Miles could probably mention, are accepted or managed by someone. And unfortunately, Amy Hilson at the time transitioned out. So I also transitioned. So the champion for the plan is left with people who hadn't actually helped, write it in the first place. So it's on your laps now. So I'm so excited that you're going to be the champions for this. It really does reflect Needham. I think they did a really great job. The women that wrote the plan from MAPC are fabulous writers. I think they really captured what Needham needs. And you'll see the 4 goals. If you got a chance to read it, there's 4 main goals. And really, to me, it's about strengthening the infrastructure of the town and connecting people, which there's no centralized cultural alliance. I work in Newton at the Newton Cultural Alliance, which is an organization that has 35 different arts organizations. And they have meetings with the members, and they have a space to go where they rehearse and have office space. So there's sort of a hub there. Needham's assets, I think there's 160 of them listed in the Arts and Culture Plan, which was awesome because you didn't even realize that there's community meetings in the basement of a church and a gallery at the Needham General Store. So Needham does have a pretty great landscape of arts and culture, but they're not necessarily connected. I know some towns have partnerships or yearly meetings. So I could go on, but I wrote a list of some of the priorities and had shared that with JP at the time, but he's obviously no longer with you. I don't know if Miles was your liaison. Something tells me he's not, but having a champion in the town to be your connector is something that hopefully you'll get replaced. When Amy did leave her job, she wrote arts and culture into her job description, and that's the only staffing member of the town that I think has that in there. And so one of the big pieces of the plan was strengthening that staffing and capacity. And I think without, as you all know, you're volunteers, you're amazing for volunteering your time, but also this town committee, unlike any other town committee, has a statutory time that you have to leave. So you can do three-year terms, and then you have to roll off for a year. And that's because you're a state arts agency through the Massachusetts Cultural Council. And so they do want turnover. They want, I think it's part of helping disseminate the grants, which is your main job, is to spread the state funding throughout the town. And so I think that's one of the huge priorities of the plan, sorry. And I'm happy to answer any of the questions. I also wrote a list of priorities that things that I've seen in the last year that I think have been delivered a little bit. But I get sad at the idea of a plan on a shelf, and the idea that the plan was delivered and maybe nothing is adopted officially within the town. I think that would be a great opportunity for you all to champion some of the priorities. So tell me what questions you have. If not, I can go through the 4 goals and talk about some of the priorities that were listed, the low-hanging fruits.
I have a question, Phil, and then I have to leave. One of the things that I've always wondered about in talking with councils in the other towns, Wellesley and Newton and Dedham are the ones that I know of.
Yeah.
They have either full-time or part-time paid people who are in charge of arts and culture within the town.
Yeah, that's
Are
funny you bring
we-
that up, because Newton just yesterday announced with their new neighbor,
That's-
actually, he's not even a mayor-elect, he is the leading candidate.
Leading
For
candidate,
November.
yes.
And if elected, they pulled someone from their funding arm to lead an arts and culture group that's not in the Parks and Rec.
That's
and
right.
culture
That's-
department.
So
Yeah.
my question is, my feeling has been over the past year and a half or two, that we're at the point where we need a part-time person who would be covering arts and culture throughout the town, given all of the big things now that we do. Everything from the music upstairs, the concerts upstairs, to the cultural events through the town and through what we do.
Yeah, and there's
And-
lots of different ways that goes, because the economic development director, who was here
Yeah.
many years before Amy, did a lot of cultural events. And
Right.
some of those cultural events fit more in the civic. So in Newton, they do a lot of like outdoor 4th of July, those
Correct.
huge things with the carnival involved.
Right.
And
And all
a
their little
little bit of
village
art
days
and
things.
culture, yeah. That's not the town.
I know,
So they have a couple different
but they're
organizations.
thinking it
Yeah.
should be and
Yeah,
So-
so it depends where that, if you want someone to copy, the city of Franklin is surprisingly on the cutting edge.
Okay.
They started a few years ago in partnership with Dean College to create, this arts and culture, symposium that I actually went to last week. And they have a position called Arts, Culture, and the Creative Economy, and it lives, that full-time staff member lives and came out of this, year-long symposium.
So I'm thinking
interim
that-
Symposium.
that might be a direction in which we should be heading.
I think having staff to help you with your, obviously, that is a very hard ask, and
I know.
that's a finance committee. I think as many people who are arts and culture advocates at town committee tables is better. Envision Needham could use a public art committee member, the transportation committee, the climate action committee. If you have someone who is advocating for the arts on every single one of those committees, you're
Right.
gonna make headroads in getting arts and culture in the community.
I've been approached by two different people in the town who want to do events in the town. Everything from a town fair to a kid's production of an art of a talent show to an all cultural weekend kind of thing. And they've got all these good ideas. And I said, they're too big for us to absorb at this particular time.
Yeah, and
Well,
those are
don't we
great
have
for
someone in the
those,
town
those
who
are
could
like
do it?
tourism, creative economy.
Yes.
People don't understand
Yeah.
how much arts and culture brought $4 billion last year to Massachusetts, to the creative economy, and so those are really amazing.
I have a
need to
piggyback
leave.
question on
Yeah.
that. That was an excellent question. And actually, it was
Segue, yeah.
similar to one of my questions. Given the fact that we don't have a town economic manager at the moment,
Yeah,
what is the best way that we can begin advocating for this position and lining up for,
yeah, so I'll say
Funding.
before you leave, my email is nanda4needham@gmail.com if anyone wants to follow up with me with other questions. I'm Joni.
Happy
New
Year, everybody who celebrates.
You too.
We'll be in touch with the subcommittee. Thank you. I have to be.
I think you're doing a fabulous job, and October 29th, getting in front of the select board is a great chance to show. I would also say, go to the select board with your grants and share what the grants are. Take a little time to present that. You can go to public comment at the beginning of any meeting. Finance committee is a great place to go for that. Yeah. Here's one story. When we first asking for funding for the organizational line budget, I think it was like $10,000. When I presented that to the select board, the town manager was Kate Fitzpatrick at the time, and I mentioned, wouldn't it be great if we had a poet laureate? And this is kind of fun things that we can fund. And then here 2 years later that we do have a poet laureate. and that
She's
kind of came
wonderful.
from that.
She is.
She's
She's
amazing,
fabulous.
isn't she?
But that's a lot cheaper than a position in the town.
Yeah, yeah.
Funding sources is a big question here. What's fun about that you all is that you guys can actually fundraise if you want. Your fundraising capacity, we've asked Beth Israel, Middlesex Bank, the banks around town. Some of the other town committees can't do that, but this LCC can.
I actually spoke to
participate.
Louise Miller this afternoon about that very thing, as she used to chair this committee, and
Yes.
she was saying that she, through a literally silent auction, was able to raise $25,000 for this
Wow.
committee.
Yeah.
So think big, guys, we can do it, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And Needham is a charitable community. They are very good at giving when you ask.
I read in this cultural plan, there's the staff position. So that's already in the town's staffing budget, or we have to advocate for it? Okay,
Yeah.
And
So it's
then-
just like a wish list.
okay.
I don't know of any other cities besides Newton and Franklin that have a staff member.
Okay, so if we're talking about thinking big, one thing I found with our town is each committee is very siloed. I went to the CAF for potential doing some concert stuff there.
To where?
the-
Sorry.
The center for.
They like to call it the
Aging.
Oh.
center.
Oh, okay.
Center at
Yeah,
the
at
Heights,
Highland
yeah.
Heights.
Yeah.
Camp
Um,
Senior Center.
Yeah,
Right.
and then the staff there is very helpful, but at the same time, she's a little closed off to doing more stuff. I don't know if it's a lack of awareness, lack of advocacy, or lack of something. So every committee is very siloed. It would be nice to have a town arts and culture curator person to coordinate all the different things and be the keeper for the inventory of the arts assets. So what you've created and started doesn't get lost with the turnover transition and it gets institutionalized. So based on your experience, what are some of the other things besides the getting in front of the select board? What are some of the other outreach that we can do? Say maybe working with the school committee could be one, but we only have limited resources, so we need to prioritize what we can do.
Yeah. I totally agree. Right now I started a committee with some friends of music, which is the high school's booster club. It's called the Act for Needham Committee. It's stands for building a community building an auditorium and community theater. And so that was to advance the facility issue that we have in town. So one of the strategies in this action plan is that facility is a problem, and facilities are a problem in Needham. We don't have enough spaces to perform in. To your point, that's probably why we went to the CAF. We do have decentralized government, as Katie King said at the All Board Summit that happened this week. The CAF and the library do have their own programmers, so they program their own spaces. So it is often difficult to get in those spaces. So the facilities committee that Christine and I are on is specifically, we're working on creating community use spaces for Pollard Middle School auditorium build. Because the auditorium is most likely going to be rebuilt, but what size and what Needham needs is a question. Well, one of our main issues is that there is no technical director, and so all the auditoriums in town exist, but they don't have the staffing to upkeep them at the moment.
I thought that's the job of the public building committee.
Yes, auditoriums or theaters are very specialized,
Yeah.
and so it's like usually a unionized position or someone who has a lot of experience in the lighting and the sound equipment. The DPW doesn't have, and the facilities don't have the experience to nor, I mean, it is a specialized position, but it's also about working the shows themselves. So what we kind of are advocating for is a community-based and school-based position that maybe could do a little bit of both things, like advocate for programmings, the Pollard Middle School and other
Mhm.
spaces in the community. I think those two things seem like they're a good match. The staffing is a difficult issue.
Yeah, that staffing
How
has
much money
been,
we're talking about to have a full-time person in town for that?
The only thing we figured out is when we went to Weymouth Middle School, which is about the same size enrollment, the auditorium is 850 seats. We're looking for something a little smaller than that for the Pollard Middle School auditorium, but their income is $100,000 a year in rental income. And that covers the position, and the position is at the technical director and the community programming director. I don't know what his title is.
Where
He's
does the
same
income
person, he
come from,
does
you
both.
said?
Well, this is Weymouth.
And
This
the
town.
income comes from
Facility rentals.
Sorry.
Rent their auditorium, rental.
rental the auditorium,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah.
So there are two issues for the town of Needham at the moment. The town of Needham does not allow any for-profit rentals on any town property, so that's one issue we're looking into. And the second issue is public-private fundraising partnerships for fundraising for the auditorium, whether that is allowable, because it hasn't been in the past.
Okay, so supposedly we could allocate some of the MCD grant towards this position,
You-
theoretically.
Yeah, you can allocate up to 5% of your
Oh, yeah, there's
Yeah.
the.
Administrative.
30%
administrative
must be
could include a
grant.
staff person.
We can also,
Not
we can allocate up to 20% of MCC for council initiated project. That was the other thing I wanted to talk about tonight, which we'll put up to the next meeting. But, or
We never
probably
really
not
had
because of
enough money to
grants, but-
like share the wealth in that way, but as
Yeah.
you increase your budget, you can start to think about what other things may be needed.
But even if you set aside that 5% for administrative, it's not. I mean, it would get you something, but it's not like.
It's
Yeah,
not,
and this
yeah, it's
staff-
not enough. to
staff
cover.
position has been a part of the school committee budgeting process for the last 2 or 3 years, and every year it gets next. Because
What position, sorry?
that,
Technical
the
director.
technical director
Oh,
position, it's
okay.
been an ask at least 2 years, I wanna say 3. And every year it gets nixed because the town has limited funds for the schools and just takes a hit with the asks. They had to cut staff this year at the high school. I mean, it's been hard.
I had the Needham Rockets come to my door.
That's for the boosters. That's
And I
boosters for
said- and I
sports.
said to them, and I think they looked at me like I was crazy, but they wouldn't be wrong, but, I said, what if the artists did this? The art students went around and.
They do.
They do?
Yes,
Oh, I didn't know
Bob
that.
has a sticker drive also,
I've never had them from when I go.
but it'd be a factor of where you live because in FAM is much smaller. We don't have like all the athletes across all the teams. You think about the hundreds of students
Something
that
at-
participate in
something at
sports.
Whitman Road.
Um,
I'm your person.
so
Right.
FAM did a door-to-door drive and now they've changed it so that instead of going door to door, they're at certain key locations on a set day in town, like in front of Sudbury Farms or in front of Starbucks, and
They're
They're-
not allowed to like sing for their supper, that they can't like
Mhm.
busk.
they could, but the students are not gonna wanna do that.
It'd be awesome for us.
They were doing that in front of Sudbury. Some of the students were playing music in front of
Oh,
Sudbury
great.
this past
Okay.
fall, last fall. So
And
anyway,
we
sorry.
have an opening for town meeting this October to show the community how amazing our arts and culture scene is and our students are. So that when the vote comes in November of 2026, everyone's behind it. I have found during our advocacy that the town of Needham is very much in support of arts and culture and the performing arts across the aisle, even though the Pollard project itself might be a little bit more sensitive in terms of the cost and how that's gonna hit everybody in town.
I think people have to think about the long term, though,
There's
like
a
you were,
lot-
like you were
There's a lot to
saying.
think about.
Yeah.
But in terms of the plan, do you all have any other questions? I think some of the low hanging fruit, most fun for y'all might be to like convene a meeting when we, the year that we took over the artist reception that you had at North Hill, and instead of inviting the grantees, we invited them, but we also said it was a creative conversation and had everyone come to the table and discuss what their needs and wants were. Artists are always gonna talk about marketing, so that's in here. a calendar, which is a really hard thing to, manage. Newton has an arts calendar. Needham has the Observer, and the Local seem to be the community calendars that are up there, but if you wanted to maybe talk to the Observer about doing a cultural events email that comes out, that's something that the Newton papers do. They send out all the a weekly roundup of what's been in the calendar.
Do they seem more likely the place to go over the Local, or you would just do it? Because you said the Observer, you'd choose that over that.
I find that the Observer's distribution was quicker than the.
They're also
Local
more
and
responsive.
They have more staff. So
Yes.
I think it's always staffing and infrastructure issues.
Yeah.
So
If we have
Observer.
this staff position in the town governance structure, many of these staffing limitations will go away, hopefully. So this is kind of strategic priority number one for us to really promote arts and culture long term.
That would be huge. And I'm a firm believer in arts and culture and community life. And I know that there's a lot of division in Needham sometimes. And I think that having an arts and culture position, even if it was part-time, creating community events would do a lot to bring Needham back together after the pandemic and after some divisive voting.
Yeah, I feel like I get that a lot too, that people want that more. And I don't know if anyone went to the Shakespeare thing.
Yeah,
I did, but
I loved it.
there were a lot of people there. And I don't know if the restaurant, I mean, we showed up, I don't know if restaurants knew about it. It was connected, like it's a little, I don't know if it's worth it to them, but maybe because you talk about it being an economic thing.
There's a
Very
company
different.
called All Over Newton, and it's run by one woman. And she's doing 2 major projects right now. She basically does pop-ups. So at my performance space, we have pop-up markets, and they'll have little it's like a fair. So they come like Needham Open Studios or something like that. So they had a bakery crawl last weekend, and they had 10,000 visitors just to the website over the weekend, which was huge. And all it was a discount
bakery
code.
what?
Bakery crawl.
Crawl.
20 different bakeries participating in this online thing, and people just I went to get one of the bakeries, and it was completely sold out. There was not one pastry left in the entire bakery. So there is a lot of marketing.
Food is important.
Yeah.
But they also have a centralized calendar where everybody can access. this
Not all over
information.
she's building a calendar there. She's distracted now. This is a side note. She's programming the Newton Center Plaza, which the mayor used ARPA funds to take some of the parking spots away from the businesses in the middle of the triangle. And the businesses got very upset. Because it's ARPA funding. But now the businesses are coming back saying that this has increased our.
It has?
It has increased our,
Really? That's-
people coming to our.
That's kind of great.
That's a question, I
Yeah.
think I'm being incredibly dense once again, but this is the mission of this organization? Or how you're saying this is on our plate, right?
I would say, I think the Needham Council for Arts and Culture, it's a state arts agency. You are appointed by the town. This was the town's plan that they came up with. And so I do believe it's in your charge to lead it. I was the chair at the time, and then the co-chair was Bala. And she was the person I trained for succession planning, but unfortunately she decided to step down when I left, and Heather and Joni took the flag. Like the amazing heroes they were, but so she would have done a better job, I think, of transitioning the plan and sharing it with the council, the torch that way.
I guess what's confusing to me is what my understanding has been is that this group primarily works the grants. And we have, a piece of like a public art thing that we do, one of or so a year, and that seems to be it.
Yeah.
So this
Mhm.
is much bigger
Yeah.
than what I was under the impression we were working on.
Mhm.
So it's a huge change for me. It's not a change, obviously, this is what we should have been doing, But obviously, we need the humans who are going to be
Correct.
doing this, and that would be, I would think, a much larger organization than we have sitting. at
Not
the table
necessarily.
today.
I think it's a fallacy that the only thing that we do is grants. I think that we can do a lot more, just people need to be willing to do the work.
Yeah.
I think that's really it, is people need to, you know, not only just show up to meetings, but people need to put in more effort than, you know, than just coming to meetings and reading the minutes and reading the agendas and being present for votes.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot more to do. There's a lot more we can accomplish. There's initiatives that we can take that we haven't and that we can and we should. So it's up to us to take the bull by the horns. So get motivated, guys.
Full power.
And that's the next thing that will happen in the town commons, who will get an electric. So you can.
That's just what I need right now.
What did you say?
Could take the bull by the horns and I'm gonna go flying.
Thank you all for having me. When I came, there was no public art, so it's an incremental change. I run it a little
hear
bit
you.
more like a nonprofit, but that's because I'm an arts
We
administrator.
can.
You're in good hands, but
Yes, we are.
I am not an arts administrator, but I know people who are, so.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Here's the
So-
open house.
On that note, there were several people who said they were gonna come. We do have an artist in our presence, so I think, I'm going to table everything else I wanted to talk about for next time. To be fair to the artists who are present for the open house, which was supposed to begin at 7 o'clock. So, I would like to dissolve the meeting. So, would anyone, make a motion to end the meeting?
I move that we conclude the meeting.
Okay, anyone second? Okay, the meeting is concluded. We can begin our open house.